Tower Beat.
Good day everyone, I am Mary Ann Heronda and I am here to discuss the Imperfect Market Competition. And if you're interested, please keep on watching. What is imperfect market? It refers to any economic market that does not meet the rigorous standards of the hypothetical, perfectly or purely market. In an imperfect market, individual buyers and sellers gain influence prices and production. There is no full disclosure of information about products and prices, and there are high barriers to entry or exit in the market. Imperfect or incomplete information about products and prices, and a small number of buyers and sellers. For example, traders in the financial market do not possess perfect or even the identical knowledge about financial products. Here are the type of imperfect market competition. The first one is monopoly. The seller faces no competition as he is the sole seller of goods with no close substitute. This is a structure in which there is only one seller. Products offered by this entity have no substitutes. This market have high barriers to entry and a single seller who sets the prices on goods and services. Example of monopoly is Microsoft and Windows, De Beers and Diamonds, your local natural gas company, individual restaurants and other products that enjoy brand loyalty. In otherwise, competitive market will choose prices and output just like the monopolists do. The second is monopolistic competition. It is a competitive market setting where there are many sellers who offer differentiated products of buyers. Businesses compete with one another and price makers, but their individual decisions do not affect the other. Many small businesses operate under conditions of monopolistic competition, including independently owned and operated high street stores and restaurants. In the case of restaurants, each one offers something different and possesses an element of what we call uniqueness, but all are essentially competing for the same customer. The third type of imperfect market competition is oligopoly competition. It is an economic market whereby a small number of companies or countries generate and control the entire supply of a good and services. This structure has many buyers but few sellers. These few sellers in the market may bar others from entering. This may set prices together, or in the case of a cartel, only one that leads to determining the price for goods and services, while the other is followed. Oligopoly examples are aluminum production, automobile manufacturers, beer industry, book publishing, and etc. The last type of imperfect market competition is monopsony. Is a single buyer in a market, much like a monopoly is a single in a market. They have an influence over the cost and amount of the tractor that will be used. They are price settlers in market factor. This structure many sellers, but few buyers. The buyer is the one who manipulates the market prices. Advantages of imperfect market competition. A higher price can be imposed on the products, this generating more profit. Barriers are created to prevent other companies from entering the market and avoid the competition. There is greater profitability in the companies that must fight against the competition. They have the possibility of sharing products on the market because they can agree on prices and locations. Disadvantages of imperfect market competition. It is a type of economy in which the government intervenes constantly because of its prices in the market. Companies must work together to achieve their greater demand.
Before getting into imperfect competition, let's get familiar with perfect competition. Perfectly competitive markets have many buyers and sellers, low barriers of entry and exit, and have competing firms that offer identical products. This means that if a single firm raises its price for a product, buyers can simply buy from the next firm. Or, if there isn't a next firm, somebody can easily set a new one up. Imperfect competition describes all non-perfectly competitive markets. Imperfect competition occurs when there are either buyers or sellers that are able to leverage the market price. The extreme of imperfect competition is monopoly. In a monopoly, there is only one seller of a good. Because there are no other firms or alternative products, the one and only firm is able to decide the market price. In an oligopoly, there are few sellers and usually high entry costs. Each seller controls a large portion of the market. Examples of oligopolistic markets in the United States are the markets for tobacco and wireless telecommunication services. Economists, regulators, and business strategists use concentration ratios and the Herfindahl index to measure how oligopolistic an industry is. These measures indicate how much control the largest firms have in their market. For example, the US market for book publishing is relatively non-oligopolistic, with a 4-firm concentration ratio of 31%. The US tobacco market, meanwhile, has a high 4-firm concentration of 86%, with the Altria Group controlling 44% of the market. Lastly, the US wireless telecommunication services market has a very high 4-firm concentration of 96%. This means that the 4 largest players, Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile, control all but 4% of the market. In monopolistic competition, firms sell differentiated products that serve a similar purpose. An example of monopolistic competition is in the smartphone market. Both Apple and Google furnish mobile operating systems that compete to be the mobile platform for consumers. Both products fulfill similar purposes, but are far from perfect substitutes for each other. Regardless of customer loyalty to a product or firm, if a product's price goes too high, the seller will lose business to a competitor. Therefore, under monopolistic competition, companies only have a limited control over price. Imperfect competition is a necessarily important concept in economics because it describes all real-world markets. No matter where you look, there will always be something keeping a market from being perfectly competitive.